He wasn't consistent. You know, at this stage in life, if you're not interested or trying to commit to me, I will see you later. I'll probably see you never. We're kind of like talking on a more intimate level, and he's like, Jasmine, do you love me? And I was like, move on. A man will commit to you if he wants to commit to you, period. You cannot force a man to do anything. The more you force him to do something, the more he's gonna resist it. Welcome to part 2 of exposing my past toxic relationships. This week, I'm going to be talking about Bill and all the things he put me through. This person had an issue with commitment. Let's just jump right in. If you're new to this channel, my name is Jazz. There's going to be 2 more parts to this series, so make sure you subscribe so that you're notified when the other 2 come out. Jumping right into Bill. Bill and I met online, and mind you, we're going back to the 2000s now. In the 2000s, MySpace was popping, right? On MySpace, you would follow people you knew, you would have your friends, you would have your top 3, top 5, top 8, and then you could also like go on other people's pages and then add those people too. Kind of like a mutual friend type of thing to get to know other people in different school districts and stuff like that. That's what people in my generation did. I kind of felt like I met Bill that way by just going on somebody from his school's MySpace page, and then maybe I saw him as like a friend, or maybe my sister had him on MySpace first, something like that. But my sister never really knew him or had a connection with him or anything like that. She would probably just follow him on MySpace. Brows are done, the eyelids are primed. I'm gonna be jumping in with this Morphe 24G Glam palette. First, I'm gonna go in with the transition color. We added each other, briefly interacting on MySpace, and then eventually Bill and I decide to swap numbers. At this point, I'm probably literally like 12 years old, y'all. I'm not even joking. I was like a preteen. I don't even think I was like a full-blown teenager yet. I think he's cute. He thinks I'm pretty type of thing. You know, I liked his style. I thought he was cute. He was a little handsome, dark-skinned Jamaican boy. And, you know, I just thought he was really cute. He could dress. Again, mind you, I'm like 12, 13 years old. You know, we lived in the same state, but we were just in 2 different districts or areas within the state. So, you know, it's just kind of us keeping contact, going in with this brown right here. So Bill doesn't show back up into my life again, probably until like, I don't know, maybe I was like 16, I would say. So we met when I was 12 online, and then this is when Facebook started to kind of be popping. People's on there instead. Everybody forgot about MySpace. Now we're all on Facebook. You know, I'm 16 years old. I'm cute. I grew into myself. My hair got long. I had the banging body, everything like that. So Bill, somehow we find each other on MySpace. I wasn't with my boyfriend yet at this time, but I was still kind of just, you know, I'm 16, so I'm talking to like a lot of different boys on Facebook. We end up probably following each other on Facebook. And, you know, just kind of keeping it cute and flirty or whatever. Bill was always just super flirty and charming. That's what I really liked about him. And he was always a sweetheart. Even near the end, like, he was always just a sweet and affectionate little man. And I say little man, y'all, because he was seriously a little man. Like, and that's not even my preference. Like, I like me a big guy, big, tall. Like, that's my thing. And Bill was this little tiny 5'5", 5'6", super just thin. He was just not what I was used to, but, and I could tell from his pictures, and then when I met him in person, I was like, oh wow, this is different. But he was just very affectionate and charming. Those are the 2 things that I'll give to Bill for sure. So anyways, fast forward again, and now we're back into age of 16, and now Bill and I start texting again. And then at this point, I move again within my state, but I'm a little bit closer to Bill than I was before. Like, Bill is in one area, and then I'm kind of like more in this area, whereas before it was like I was all the way over here and Bill was all the way over here. Both of us wanted to meet each other in person and maybe just connect a little bit more, like maybe meet at the mall or something, because that's what teenagers back then would do, is just kind of link up at the mall and you know, see a movie, or just literally randomly walk around the mall and just go to Auntie Anne's or just talk. That's what teenagers did. He's kind of like toying with me a little bit, like, oh, I'm gonna make you my girl, like just saying little stuff like that. And I'm like, you know, thinking like, we don't even go to the same school, so how is this really gonna, because back then it's like when you were boyfriend girlfriend, you would at least be in the same school so you can, you know, walk the hallways together, spend time together. Back at that time, that was literally considered like long distance for a teenager to be dating somebody from another school district. People did it, but it was more so like older, like upperclassmen, like maybe high school kids, because it's like you have a car, so it just made a little more sense. But people that were like sophomores, freshmen, like nobody's like doing all that. I'm a little bit flattered. I'm like, okay, like, you know, of course I was probably fronting like, whatever, what are you talking about? I was low-key flattered because I'm like, okay, this is kind of a blast from the past at this point. Like I said, I met him on social media when I was like, which we didn't even call social media. It wasn't even called social media back then. It was just called like MySpace. I wanted it to happen because I always had a thing for Bill. So I'm like, okay, if we could make that happen, that'd be cool. But of course, you know, I'm fronting, so. We would be texting, and then I would notice the conversations would just stop, and I'm kind of like, I don't really like that. And you know, when you're young like that, you just want to text and be on the phone all day. You don't really, like, all you're doing is being in school and being home. So I'm just kind of like, okay, you know, we were talking and now we're not. So yeah, conversations with Bill would it would just be him kind of teasing me and flirting with me. And you know, I always believed that he liked me, but it was kind of just a tease, you know? I'm kind of like, are you just telling me what I want to hear? I would always kind of feel that way with Bill. I didn't like that because I actually wanted to be Bill's girlfriend. And at this time, I've never had a boyfriend at this point, and I'm 16, so I'm like, you know, if he would ask me, I would say yes. I really wanted to be his girlfriend. Another gap kind of ended up happening with Bill and I because he was playing games, per usual. I ended up getting a boyfriend that actually went to my school. And I think I was still texting Bill because my boyfriend got jealous. He's like, why are you texting other boys? So I was still texting Bill, but I did have a boyfriend. And I wasn't cheating or anything like that, but it's just something about Bill I wanted to stay connected with, so I was still texting him when I had my boyfriend. And you know, it fell off because my boyfriend didn't want me keeping in contact with him. And I'm like, you know, let me respect that. So Bill and I stopped speaking again. This is 2013 at this point, because that's when I was 16. First interaction with Bill started in 2008, I would say 2008 to 2009. Again, like, I just want to keep y'all aware of these gaps. So things obviously end with my boyfriend, and this boyfriend I'm talking about was my actual like first boyfriend, my first love. I feel like Bill and I probably were literally still keeping in contact briefly over the years because the boyfriend and I broke up. Bill and I really started to connect again in 2016. Now, I feel like he still had my number and I still had his number, but he was such an inconsistent person that he would just text me and we would be connecting, whatever, and then it would just stop for months, guys. Like, the communication would stop for like 3-6 months, and then he would just pop up out of nowhere like, hey, big head, hey, beautiful, like all this corny stuff, like just pop up out of nowhere. You know, I was always happy to hear from him, but the crazy part about it was too, I would never be the one to reach out to Bill. He would just reach out to me, like I said, months later, silence, and we would be texting for days at a time, and then it would just go silent, and then now I'm hearing from you months later. Now I'm gonna be setting my brow bone with this little champagne shimmery color right here. And I'm also gonna be putting this on my lid. 2016 comes, I'm in college, and Bill and I reconnect, and I'm still at the same house that's not too far from Bill. We were probably like 15 minutes apart, so we both was kind of like, what's up? We're like, when are we linking? We're not even far from each other, type of thing. And at this point in 2016, our conversations are a little bit more frequent, and now we're at the point where we're speaking over the phone. and everything like that, whereas before it was just text messages. Bill was only like a month older than me. The last two men of these series were 2 and 3 years older than me, and they were two of the worst because it's just the quality of the person. I would ask Bill, like, are you going to college? Like, what do you want to be? What are you trying to pursue? And you know, he's like, college is just not for me. It's a ripoff. It's this, it's that, and the third. And I'm like, I mean, I feel you or whatever. So he had a job at the Walmart distribution center, and in the area I lived in, that was like the top of the top jobs you could get. It paid like a great hourly rate, it had good benefits, and you know, he had his nice car, he had a BMW, he was like working on getting his own apartment. And mind you, like, again, we're 20 years old, so that's young to be having all this stuff going for you. So I'm like, okay. And I could tell he was the type to wine and dine, smooth talk you, treat you like a princess. And you know, those are the type of men I go for. So it's like he would try to pursue me, but it would be like halfway. And I'm like, what is going on? You like me, I like you. We've been clear about this, so it's like, why are you having trouble just committing to me? And he would try to ask me out, like, oh, let me take you to breakfast. At this time, it's like we've known each other long enough for you to make some sort of commitment to me and not just hit me up out of the blue when you're bored. That's kind of how I was taking it. And it's like, I know he would be talking to other girls when he wasn't talking to me. And I was just in this weird space with it because I'm like, okay, what really is this relationship? I really liked Bill. The connection I had with Bill was just, it was great. We just connected and meshed so well. I felt so comfortable with him. Everything was just jokes. Like, we just had this great connection. Red flags. So we'd be talking on the phone, he'd call me, and he would get off of his late night shift at the warehouse. He would get home at maybe like 1 or 2 in the morning. I would be up when he got home. I'm just a night owl. That's just me. That's still me till this day. I go to bed mad late. That's just what it is. He would call me a lot of times, or I would call him, or a lot of times we would text before he went to work. Put it on your lid, and then if you have hooded eyes, I think you're supposed to go like that, and then that's where you're gonna carve out your crease. He would be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hit you tomorrow, I promise. I'm gonna call you at this specific time. And then the time would come. I'm waiting by my phone, and I'm getting no call from Bill. We would set times for him to call me. And you know, I know people are busy, people have lives, you know, you're working and everything like that. I get it, but I don't like when you're, again, kind of making a plan or saying you're gonna do something and you don't do it. So for me, that's another red flag. Like, if you tell me you're gonna call me at a time, don't have me up waiting by the phone or stopping what I'm doing to make time to talk to you and you're not actually gonna call me. I started noticing that that was kind of becoming a pattern, and you know, I don't want to trip because, again, you're not my man. You didn't ask me to be your girlfriend, so I'm kind of just like, okay, whatever. Like, you know, he's busy, he's working, he needs his space or whatever. But you know, low-key, I didn't like that because I'm like, you said you were gonna call me. And every time that happens with a guy, you tell me, oh, I gotta go, I'm gonna call you back this time, I promise. You don't call me back. I'm keeping strikes of that. Like, strike 1, strike 2, not calling me back. I don't like that. Again, back to this common theme of Bill not sticking to his commitments. Bill was never mean to me. He never called me out at my name. He wasn't toxic. He wasn't disrespectful. He was actually super sweet and respectful and had a lot of gentleman-like qualities, and I really admired that. That's very attractive to me. I liked it. But he just could never stick to his commitments to me. He would be a good match and boyfriend for me. He had personality qualities I liked. He had the connection with me that I really liked. He was affectionate and sweet, and I really liked that. And I know he would wine and dine me if he actually made me his girlfriend, but it just wasn't getting there. The specific time I remember my very first date with Bill, I was actually so excited for it because I'm like, we've been texting for so many years. In my head, of course. We've been texting for so many years, and like, I finally get to meet Bill in person, and I was just hyped. I was working, and then when I got off of work, I was gonna go right to the date, I think. No, he didn't pick me up. What am I talking about? I'm getting ahead of myself. He did not pick me up. I was gonna meet him at his house because Another red flag, ladies, I mean, I kind of feel like you want to be safe when you're kind of meeting someone for the first time, but I feel like Bill and I had enough of a rapport where he could have picked me up, and he didn't do that. So it's kind of like, looking back, that's something where, you know, if you don't know this person, this is maybe your first or second time interacting with them, maybe you've known them for like a month or two, then yes, like y'all use your own transportation and meet there. But it's kind of, if you have a little bit more of a rapport and a trust with somebody, then he should probably come pick you up. And he had his fly car, he didn't do that. It was a Sunday, I remember this specifically. It was a Sunday, I was hyped to get off work, like I'm going on a date, I'm happy. He's a real cutie, like just hype. So, I mean, maybe I went home to change and spruce up or something like that, or maybe I changed at work, I don't really remember. But I ended up meeting Bill at his crib, and more red flags going off. He's like, just stay in the driveway, like don't, because I remember getting out of my car, like walking to his door. He had a really nice house, like his crib was crazy, okay? It was like this nice brick big house, and he lived in a more like upscale community for the little area that we're from. So yeah, I remember like going up to his door. He had like a surveillance camera at the door. So I feel like I was gonna like ring the bell and like wanting him or someone to come to the door, and he's like, wait in the car, like just something weird. And I'm like, oh, here we go. So I wait in my car and call him, and it's like, I feel like I left my car at his house, and then we both got in his car and went to the movies. I knew Bill was a small guy, but I didn't know Bill was a small guy until I seen Bill in person, mind y'all. And I'm like 5 feet tall approximately. So, I mean, I'm not tall either. We go to the movies in his fly car, and I'm like, okay. And at the time, I had me a little like Chevy Cobalt. So, you know, it was reliable and it got me where I needed to be. But Bill had like this really nice car that he literally worshipped. Looking back, like he literally worshipped that car. The rapport I had with Bill, I'm like, I know Bill, and Bill is gonna treat me like a lady. So we get up to the little counter, and this was a nicer theater. It was out of town, away. He's like, oh, I don't go to the movie theater in town. Like it's corny. It's like this, that. There's gonna be people from school there and everything like that. So he's like, we're gonna go to this one. And I'm like, okay. This theater was a lot nicer, and I can't remember what we saw. I don't really remember. We get to the counter. Bill pulls out his black card, okay? It was a black card. He's like, yeah, 2 tickets to see. Pays for the tickets. We go to the theater. We didn't get snacks or anything like that, but we go to the theater. And this is our first time in person. You know, we like each other. There wasn't like physicality, but we were definitely kissing and just talking and like getting to know each other, which we probably maybe should have not seen a movie and done something where we could have interacted more, because we were just like talking the whole time and we weren't watching the movie pretty much. That's why I can't remember what we saw, because we were not watching it. As we're there, I'm like, I really like Bill. I'm like, the connection's been crazy. He's a gentleman. I would love nothing more than for Bill to ask me to be his girlfriend and to pursue me. But Bill doesn't do that. So yeah, after that day, we go back to his crib, and I'm pretty sure he lived in the basement of his parents' home. We went down to the basement and was chilling down there for a few hours, and then I went home after that. At this point, I'm kind of having a good feeling about Bill. Like, it was a great date, you know, and it was my idea to go back to his crib, to be honest. The date went so well, I was just happy and wanted to spend more time with him. Like, he was perfectly fine with just taking me back home so I could get in my car and go home. But I literally told him, I was like, I don't want to leave yet, like, can we go inside? So that's what we did. He was not trying to get me in the house and take advantage of me or expect anything. It was me that wanted to do that. So I completely respected Bill for that. It was probably one of those things again with Bill where did he ghost me? I wouldn't say he ghosted me after that, but it definitely was a little like, you know, we had a great time. We both know we had a great time. So again, where's this kind of lack of communication? Like, we had a good time. Like, why didn't you ask me to be your girlfriend after this? You know, again, I'm just wanting commitment from this man, young man, because, you know, I like him and we had a really good time. What now? Like, what is gonna get you to commit to me? I'm gonna do a black wing off camera with this gel liner, so I'll be right back. Gonna be going in with these Kiss lashes I got from my local beauty supply. These are gorgeous. They're faux mink. You know, at this stage in life, you know, I'm kind of, again, if you're not interested or trying to commit to me, I will see you later. I'll probably see you never. Like, I don't have time for it. If you can't make a decision that I'm for you, then I just, goodbye. I feel like he was afraid because he would tell me, I just like how things are now, you know, that we're friends and I value you so much. I don't want to mess anything up. I feel like if I date you or I make you my girlfriend, I'm gonna mess up and you're gonna hate me or just stuff like that. You know, he's like, I just like what we have now as friends because I don't want to mess anything up, pretty much. I'm like, I want more from you. Like, I'm not accepting that as an excuse. I want more from you, period. More time goes by after that date, and at this point, the behavior that Bill is displaying, I just should have left him alone. But you know, of course, me being desperate, I guess, or just thinking that there's some sort of hope and he has some sort of potential, I'm still keeping hope alive. So, you know, just given off of what he was telling me, like, oh, I just want to be friends, I don't want to mess anything up. Like, no, you're telling me you want to have your cake and eat it too. You don't want to be tied down in a relationship and you still want to be with me to some degree and speak to other women. Like, that's really what you're telling me. And I can't, and that's the thing too with Bill, because he wasn't using me. Like, it's just so weird because he really liked me and I really liked him, and I just wanted him to just act on that. Like, he was not using me for physicalities at all. He just wasn't using me. He was not using or abusing me at all. At this point in the game, platforms are kind of shifted a little bit. So Twitter was beginning to get a little more popular. Like, obviously people were using Twitter back then, but it wasn't as popular as probably Facebook until around this time. I'm seeing what he's tweeting, not like stalking him or anything like that, because it's like, I liked Bill, but I also knew what it was. But I kind of was watching like, oh, is he tweeting other girls? At this point, I'm working a new job. I was doing retail, now I'm doing home health at an assisted living facility. But like I said, I was still in college and I was still working the full-time job at the assisted living facility. And around this time, you know, we probably hadn't really spoke since that date that I thought went really well. I'm pretty sure I pressed him about it. I'm tired of this, you know, no commitment thing. He's like, and ladies, again, don't do this. If you have to do all of this pressing and questioning and why this, why that, just move on. A man will commit to you if he wants to commit to you, period. You cannot force a man to do anything. The more you force him to do something, the more he's gonna resist it and not wanna do it. So I'm pretty sure at this point in time, I gave him some sort of ultimatum or something like that. If this is gonna continue, I don't wanna talk to you anymore, we're done. At the end of the day, he didn't wanna lose me. He made that clear. So I'm like, you know, I'm done with this. If you can't commit to just me, goodbye. He's like, okay, I promise it's just you and me. Starting right now, it's just you and me. I'm like, okay, so you're my boyfriend? Again, like sounding like a freaking 12-year-old. And I'm pretty sure he was like, yeah, you know, it's just you and me. But then, I start going on his Twitter, not even going on his Twitter, I open up Twitter and seeing just the people who's tweeted, and I'll be seeing stuff like shorty this, shorty that, like my little light skin, like just stuff knowing he wasn't talking about me. Clearly I'm not light skinned, clearly, and just the stuff he was saying like had nothing to do with me. So I'm like, okay, are you tweeting song lyrics or something like that? And I came to the realization, like, you're talking to another girl. Like, you're not talking about me. It's not just you and me like you once claimed. And, you know, I didn't look at it as cheating because I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, you're saying it's just you and me, but I kind of knew like, is it really? I'm gonna be priming my skin with this Hard Candy mattifying primer. I ended up pressing him about it because I'm like, you just committed to me. Like, that was our understanding. You were finally gonna commit to me. And again, begging for something where it just should be something that the man wants to do. He just should want to commit to you or not commit to you. Period. And then you move on to somebody who will commit to you. But, you know, 20-year-old Jazz was not thinking like that at all. And of course I get gaslit. I didn't send a screenshot because I don't even know if that was a thing back then. I mean, maybe it was, but that's not what I did. I was just like, I seen on Twitter. Now I'm a direct girl, so I was like, I seen on Twitter you're saying something about a little light skin. She's so good at just something, like, it just sounded very seductive or something like that. So I'm like, what is this about? And he's like, I didn't say that. What are you talking about? Like, I didn't say that. I'm going in with this Dream Urban cover by Maybelline in the shade 348 Cafe. Oh, such a pretty match. I don't wear this one too often, y'all, but this is really pretty. I'm really starting to like foundation with a brush, actually. He's like, I didn't say that. And I'm like, yes, you did. I saw it. What are you talking about? So we're just going back and forth. He's saying he didn't say it when I know he definitely said it. I saw him tweet it. I'm not crazy. And you're dead lying. So that happened. I didn't like it, but of course I'm still, you know, I'm still down for Mr. Bill. I don't know if you're supposed to like put this on your skin. I heard that's a little unsanitary, but my face is clean. So let's hope all works out for the best. Are you supposed to like, there's no dropper. Oh, actually there is a dropper, Jazz. Oh, it's unsanitary. Yeah, yeah, okay. So I'm like, you know, at this point, I'm moving on. And I really should have just blocked him, but of course I'm like, you know, I'll catch you when I catch you. Cause it's just something about Bill, like I said, the connection we had, I didn't want to let him go. Jazz of 2024, like, oh my gosh. You can miss me with all that. And this is why I'm single, because I have not come across anybody who, you know, I'm not saying all men are trash, because clearly they're not. There's good men out there. There's good godly men out there. And that's the kind of man that I'm gonna manifest someday. But, you know, the men in these story times were not men of God. And they just were not good men in general. We're not gonna be like all men are trash or anything like that, because that's coming from a hurt and unhealed place, and that's not me. So, you know, ooh, his name almost slipped. Oh my gosh, his name literally almost slipped. Bill, sorry. Yeah, I wasn't liking how he was moving, so, you know, I'm like, okay, this is done. Now moving into 2017, because this was about my last straw with Bill at this point. I told y'all Bill had never disrespected me, but he really began to disrespect me with his actions at this point. I really like this for highlighting. And when you have an open under eye, like when you're not doing, I'm not doing my signature, which is the black waterline and lash line. I didn't even tight line, so you really could go bright on the under eye when you kind of are not, I mean, you could go regardless, but it's gonna look really good with that bare lash line. But this is like the lightest concealer for brightening. Oh, you know what? I have something a little lighter actually. And this is the Revlon Color Stay Full Coverage Concealer in the shade Deep. I'm just gonna put a little bit, this is a little more yellow tone. Just gonna put a little on the edge. In the year of 2017, I turned 21 years old. I had a costume party. Everybody had to come in a costume. My birthday is October 19th, so the theme of the party was a costume party. I don't do Halloween. I'm a Christian, so I'm like, you know, since it's in October, why don't we make it cute and we can all like dress up and put on costumes. So, I mean, it's kind of playing into it a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a cute idea and it was fun. I was 21, so I'm like, let's do this. So I invite Bill. I had told my sister about Bill, like, to an extent, and just how much I liked him and how strong our connection was and everything like that. And even she was a little confused. She's like, okay, well, you know, what's going on with Bill? Like, why is he not committing to you? She ended up meeting Bill at the costume party, our costume party, because we're twins. He shows up to the party, and I think I warned him. I'm like, don't come to my party without an outfit. Like, don't do that without a costume. So, you know, he pulls up to the party in his fly BMW, parks like down the road so nobody's coming into contact with his Beamer. I think he came with like one of his friends who I thought his friend was kind of handsome. I'm like, who's your, I was like, who's your friend? Like you not coming to me. I'm like, who's your friend? He's really cute. Who's your friend? So of course he's not trying to like disclose that information to me. And of course they're just dressed in like their fly polo gear. You know, everything he wore was polo. He just gave, oh my God. I keep saying his name. Bill just gave like luxury. I told you he had the good job. Even before he had the good job, he was like a Brooklyn guy. So he repped Brooklyn. He always had the freshest Jordans and polo this, polo that. Like that was Bill. So I guess he thought he was too cool to wear like a costume or whatever. And it didn't have to be anything like cheesy. I'm not asking you to come in as Batman, like, but like play into it and have fun. And then, you know, we start talking. I'm like, I was so excited he came because I wasn't sure if he was gonna come because, you know, like I said, he was, you know, the fly guy, the cool guy. So I'm like, maybe he thinks this is corny, maybe he's not gonna show up. We kind of just have like an intimate moment with just the two of us. And I just remember just sitting on his lap and just like, I was just so into this guy. Seriously, y'all, like, it was just something there. Like, I just felt so comfortable with him. It was something there, but it's just, he would not seal the deal. So it's gonna be probably the second to last interaction with Bill. So we end up linking up again in person. We went to like a casino. Again, it was him and one of his other friends, but I trusted Bill. We had the rapport, so, you know, I trusted it. I'm like, he had the commitment issues and things like that, but deep down I knew Bill would never do anything to put me in danger. I think they had like a room there and maybe they were gambling or something like that, I don't know. But you know, me and Bill are out having a good time. We're kind of like talking on a more intimate level, and he's like, Jasmine, do you love me? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I love you too. And I'm like, I was like, okay. So he's like, I have so much love for you. He was like, I'm not, you know how men do this, like, I have love for you, but I'm not in love with you. And I'm like, I didn't even take it away. I'm like saying, like, it's this love we had for each other that we couldn't really explain. Like, we deeply cared for the other person, but it's not like we had that romantic thing, even though we could have it because the chemistry, the connection, everything was there. But it's like he would not get on that romantic level with me where he was consistently courting me, spending time with me, treating me and things like that. And like I told you guys, like, this guy was a genuine type of guy, and it's like, but he wasn't really moving that way in full capacity with me. We end up coming to that conclusion, like, we really have love for each other. But I'm like, what am I doing with that? What am I doing with that, Bill? And this was my idea before the fact of us linking up at this casino. This was around kind of like November, December type of time. So I'm like trying to deepen our relationship a little bit. I'm like, you know what? Christmas is coming up. Why don't we do a gift exchange? And he's like, all right, bet, sure, we could do that. And mind you, at this point, we knew each other well. So it's like, I even knew what he would like. I knew what to get him. I'm hyped. I knew what he would like. I already knew what I was gonna get him. And, you know, I feel like he knew me enough to know what type of girl I was. Like, jewelry. If you listen to men, jewelry. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what he's gonna get me or whatever. So fast forward to the link up of us being at the casino. I'm like, did you get my gift yet? And he's like, yeah, of course I got your gift, da da da, like fronting, of course. I'm going in with these two blushes. This is actually an eyeshadow, y'all, but I use it as a blush because it goes really good with my complexion. And I got this literally in like 2018, and I have not even scratched the surface. Like, this is so beautiful. Then I'm gonna go over it with this Artisan Baked blush and toasted almond from Black Radiance. So yeah, anyways, like, he's fronting like, oh yeah, of course I got you, of course I got your gift or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool, because I have yours. It's like wrapped at my house, like, you know, I have it. At the time, my sister was working at Converse, which is, I think Nike owns Converse or vice versa, something of the sort. So she had this bomb like 40% discount. I'm excited, like he's a sneakerhead, so I'm gonna get him the flyest shoes. So that's exactly what I ended up doing. I got him these low top Air Force Ones because, you know, he claimed to be a Brooklyn guy, like he repped Flatbush. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get him some low top Air Force Ones. They were these beautiful like jet black suede Air Force Ones. I knew his shoe size. I'm gonna treat him to this for Christmas. So that's exactly what I do. It's wrapped to perfection. I'm not a good rapper, so I think I asked like my mom to wrap it or something. My mom is like the perfect gift wrapper. Sorry y'all, I love blush so much. And I don't think we're gonna do under eye today. I think we're gonna kind of leave it as is. I have the beautiful gift. It was wrapped at my house. Like as I'm even pressing him at the casino, like your gift is wrapped. I'm gonna go over it with this Rimmel Stay Matte. Wow guys, I'm so not used to this naked under eye look at all. Bill was a little wishy-washy, but I didn't expect him to move quite like this. It was very bummy and tacky. I ended up going to New York for Christmas that year, so him and I ended up meeting up probably like a few days after Christmas, because like I said, I had gone to New York from PA, and you know, we weren't able to do the gift exchange. End up linking up at Wendy's. That's where we would link up to just kind of talk, or it was like a middle ground for both of us. From the distances we lived, the Wendy's that we would meet at, which it was only maybe like 2 or 3 times, but it was like a good middle ground where we could at least meet up and like talk. I think sometimes we would meet there on his lunch break. A few days after Christmas, we meet up there to exchange the gifts. You know, I got my gift in the car, and I go over to his car. So, you know, my gift's in hand. I'm like, okay, maybe he has like a cute little petite box with like something shiny and shimmery and diamondy. I get in his car, you know, we do a little small talk or whatever. I give him the gift. I'm like, Merry Christmas. And he takes the box. I'm like, are you gonna open it? Because I was excited about this gift. I'm like, this is something that I know he would like. And, you know, I'm like, are you gonna open it? And he's like, not in front of you. And I'm like, okay. So anyways, we're in the car and just it's all the stalling going on. And I'm like, where's my gift? What did you get me? He's like, I've been really busy, but I got you, I promise. Like, I'm going to the mall tomorrow to pick up your gift. And you know what? I should have swiped my box back. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll meet tomorrow when you bring mine. And of course not, because Jazz is such a loving, kind-hearted, generous person. I'm like, okay, well, okay, you know, take yours, tell me what you think about it when you get home and open it, since you don't want to open it now. We get home, and then he ends up texting me like kissy faces, whatever, just like making it seem like he liked it. Like, he didn't overdo it or anything, but I could tell that he was just kind of blown away at the thought behind the gift. Like, it just fit him so well. And I just got that vibe. Like, he didn't want to just do the most, but it really touched him. So, but I think it was a little too much for him, honestly. I think he didn't realize the type of woman I was. And, you know, mind y'all, like, I know I got him a pair of sneakers, but it was true to who he was, and it connected with him. Sometimes people don't know how to accept certain things or connect with certain things, or just, it was a vibe like that where I knew he really liked it, but I feel like it was a little too much for him. Like, he was showing himself because he's like, dang, I didn't even show up with the gift. Like, she got me this, she thinks highly of me, and you know, I'm not doing my part, but she's doing hers, type of thing, and I don't really deserve this person. Like, looking back, I'm feeling like this is what was going through his head. Like, I don't deserve her. And he would always say that, like, I just want to be friends with you because I really don't want to mess anything up. You're an amazing person. We were supposed to meet up like a day later because he was like, I got you, I'm gonna get it tomorrow, whatever. So I go to the Wendy's, you know, thinking I'm gonna get my gift. and I'm waiting there because, like I said, we would meet up there on his lunch break. I'm waiting. Time's passing by. No sign of Bill. I'm like, okay, I knew Bill had commitment issues and things like that, but I'm like, he's not the type to stand me up and just not give me a gift. Like, this man has money, a good job, he's a smooth talker, a wine and diner. Like, he's not gonna not give me anything. So time is passing. I think I called him, no response. So I'm just like, I'm going home. I go home and I'm like, why didn't you show up? Where's my gift? No response. He just ghosts me. And I'm like, I want my gift. I'm like, I'm not playing, I want my gift. Where, like, why are you acting like this? Why'd you stand me up? I want my gift. No response. And that's the last I ever heard of Bill. And that was just so grimy to me, because I'm like, this is somebody like I had a true connection with. No, there was never a real commitment or a label put to our relationship, but this is somebody that I had deep love and care for, and he felt the same way. It's just he was not showing it. Men, you can comment below if y'all act similar in certain situations when you know you have a good thing going. It was almost like self-sabotage. I was a good woman to him. I was there for him. I was good to him. He didn't need to play me the way he played me. Even if he showed up with a gift and that was that and he ghosted me, it just shows again his lack of commitment. Like, we're both committing to do something, to show up and do a gift exchange, and you couldn't even do that after I got you something and you drive off with it. So again, it's the quality of men, ladies. All of these roads of ups and down, of on and off communication, of dipping and then coming back into my life, and love bombing and all of this stuff, you know. Again, Bill was not verbally or physically abusive, but the inconsistencies and lack of commitment in itself is a form of disrespect. And I didn't see it that way at the time, but looking back, older and wiser, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, he played me, you know. I think he self-sabotaged himself, but he hurt me in the process. Yeah, moral of the story, yet again, ladies and gentlemen, if there's somebody who's just showing inconsistencies, move on. There's somebody out there that's gonna love you to the point where they wanna commit only to you. And I know men have wandering eyes and commitment issues, but when he finds the one, it's gonna be all about the one. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gonna wanna get to know you, wanna get to spend time with you, wanna be a consistent part of your life. Like, the wishy-washy, back and forth, unsure, I do not do, I will not do. If there's signs of it, I'll stay single. Especially at the age of almost 28, going into 30s. Like, if you can't be committed, then it's goodbye. Makeup came out really, really good though. It's fresh and clean, it's matte. We got the shimmer on the eye. Be sure to stay tuned for part 3 of my toxic past relationships. We got 2 more men left. Next week, we're gonna be discussing Mike. Mike was actually my boyfriend. He made a commitment to me, so we're gonna be getting into what he did to me, what I learned, and how I ran for the hills, because Mike was very toxic. Mike actually knew Bill. Bill and Mike knew each other, so it gets a little bit sticky. I'll get into that, but Bill and Mike did know each other. Make sure you subscribe so you're notified when I post part 3 of my toxic past relationships, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.